All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something pretty wild.
Mm.
And it all starts on like a typical Tuesday morning.
Uh-huh.
April 8th, 2025 suns coming up over the horizon in Dombivli West.
Okay.
Just outside Thane, Maharashtra, so you can almost picture it, right? It's that kind of sleepy suburb starting to wake up.
Yeah.
The scooters are putting along, the milk delivery is clanging around, and the birds are going nuts.
Right, the usual dawn chorus.
Yeah, exactly. And right in the middle of this total everyday scene, something totally bizarre goes down.
Okay.
Two women on a scooter pulling up to their housing society.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's got a baby with her 9 months old, probably still all snuggly and warm.
Yeah.
They just need to get past this guy who's blocking the entrance,
Yeah.
So one of the women does what anyone would do. She just says, "Excuse me."
Right. A totally normal thing to say.
Yeah, it's like the universal phrase for, "Hey, can you scooch over a bit?"
Exactly. Polite and to the point.
And that's when things go completely sideways. That tiny little, blows up into a huge, violent fight.
Wow, seriously.
And the crazy part is, what set it off? It wasn't a parking spot or loud music or anything like that.
What was it then?
It was an argument about language.
No way.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack this whole incident, figure out exactly what happened, and maybe even more importantly, try to understand what could be simmering beneath the surface to make something like this explode.
Yeah, that's the really interesting part, isn't it? Like, what are the underlying dynamics here?
Exactly. I've been digging into the details, and it's a wild ride.
I bet.
I mean, think about it. You're just trying to get home after maybe a long night with the baby.
Yeah.
You say, "Excuse me," and bam, you're in the middle of a brawl.
It's hard to even imagine that kind of escalation.
Yeah, it's just so out of left field,
Totally. It makes you wonder about what kind of pressure cooker situation was already brewing there.
Right, so let's get a little more context here. We're talking about Dombivli West.
Okay.
This isn't some sleepy village. It's a busy, crowded suburb,
Yeah, lots of people packed in close together.
Exactly. So you wouldn't exactly think of it as the kind of place where people are getting into violent fights over language.
Yeah, that's not usually what comes to mind when you think of suburbia.
And to make it even clearer how weird this is, think back to that first interaction.
Okay.
This woman with her baby, she just asked this guy to move so they could get into their own building.
Like a totally reasonable request.
Right. There was nothing aggressive about it, just, "Excuse me."
It's about as polite as you can get.
But the guy's response was anything but polite.
Oh.
According to what the women told the police, he immediately starts yelling at them to speak Marathi.
Wow, so it was the language itself that was the problem.
Apparently, so no asking what they wanted or anything, just straight to the language issue.
That's so bizarre.
It's like the situation went from 0 to 60 in a second.
You can really feel that tension escalating.
And then get this, it wasn't just words.
Uh-oh.
The guy actually grabbed the woman who was holding the baby and twisted her arm. Yeah, can you imagine the shock of that happening out of nowhere?
And with a baby in her arms, it's just awful.
It's beyond awful.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. And to make matters worse, it didn't stop there.
Oh, no.
Like out of thin air, 4 or 5 other women and 2 young men show up and join in the attack.
So it became a whole mob scene.
Basically, they just swarmed these 2 women. It must have been terrifying.
That's so scary. It makes you wonder what was going through their minds to do something like that.
And here's the part that really gets me, the detail that's just seared into my brain.
What is it?
They didn't even care that there was a 9-month-old baby right there in the middle of it.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
You'd think that seeing a baby in danger would make anyone stop and think.
Yeah, you'd think that would be a clear line.
But not for these people. The baby was right there and they just kept attacking.
It's just heartless.
I know, it's like they had zero regard for the baby's safety.
It really makes you question their humanity.
It does. So thank goodness someone was recording the whole thing. Oh, good. At least there's some evidence.
Yeah, the video went viral pretty quickly, which, in this case is a good thing.
Right. It exposes what happened and hopefully helps bring the attackers to justice.
Exactly. It's like a digital witness.
And I'm guessing the police are involved now?
Oh, yeah. The women filed a complaint at the Vishnunagar police station.
Mm-hmm.
Senior Inspector Sanjay Pawar confirmed that they're looking into it.
Good. So at least it's being taken seriously.
But here's the thing. They haven't filed an FIR yet.
Really? Why not?
It seems like they're still trying to figure out if this was a one-off thing or if there's something more going on.
Okay, so there could be a deeper story here.
Potentially. Like maybe some ongoing feud or something.
That would make sense. It's hard to believe that a simple, could trigger that level of violence without some pre-existing tension.
Right, so let's step back for a second and look at the bigger picture here.
Why would anyone get so worked up over, excuse me, not being said in Marathi? I mean, obviously, Marathi is the official language of Maharashtra, and it's a huge part of the state's cultural identity.
Yeah, it's like the heart and soul of the region.
No one's arguing with that, but then you have to consider what's been going on lately.
Like what?
Specifically, the MNS, Raj Thackeray's party.
Right, they've been pretty vocal about Marathi.
To say the least, just a few weeks before this whole Dombivli thing, they launched this campaign targeting bank branches.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Their people were going into banks and demanding that the staff only speak Marathi to customers.
Wow, so they were really trying to enforce it.
Big time. And it wasn't always peaceful either. There were reports of intimidation and harassment.
That's not right.
It got so bad that the bank unions actually complained to the chief minister.
Yeah, that's a pretty clear sign that things were getting out of hand.
Totally. They were worried about their employees' safety.
I can understand why.
So eventually, Raj Thackeray told his people to back off a bit with the bank visits.
So things calmed down a little.
On the surface, yeah. But that underlying message that Marathi needs to be front and center, it was still there.
Right, it's like that feeling lingered in the air.
Exactly. So now we come back to Dombivli. Was this guy's reaction directly linked to the MNS?
That's the million-dollar question.
We don't know for sure if he was an MNS member or anything.
But the timing is definitely suspicious.
It is. You can't ignore that it happened so soon after the whole bank campaign.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that created a climate where people felt like they could get away with this kind of thing.
Exactly. Like maybe there was this unspoken permission to be aggressive about language.
Right, like a sense of we're in the right here.
But on the other hand, maybe it wasn't about Marathi at all. Maybe this guy was just looking for a fight.
You mean like he was already angry about something and the language was just an excuse?
Exactly. Maybe he was having a bad day and these women just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It's possible. I mean, people do snap over the smallest things sometimes. Yeah.
And let's not forget about the women. They didn't just stand there and take it.
Good for them.
They fought back even though they were outnumbered, and one of them had a baby.
Wow, that's brave.
I can't imagine how scared they must have been. But that instinct to protect themselves and the baby kicked in.
Adrenaline is a powerful thing.
It is. And when they filed their police complaint, they made it very clear that they felt like they were attacked for no reason.
Yeah. A simple, excuse me, shouldn't lead to a beatdown.
Absolutely. So Senior Inspector Power is still investigating, trying to figure out all the details.
Hopefully they can get to the bottom of it.
And I'm sure that viral video is going to be a big help.
Yeah, that's hard evidence right there.
It is. So this whole incident really brings up some big questions, don't you think?
Definitely. It makes you think about the line between cultural pride and just being a decent human being.
Yeah. Where does that line get crossed? When does being proud of your language turn into something harmful?
It's a tough one because obviously loving your language and culture is a good thing, but it shouldn't come at the expense of others.
Right? Like, imagine if we all started demanding that everyone around us speaks our language all the time.
That would be chaos.
Total chaos, especially in a country like India with so many different languages.
Yeah, it would be impossible.
And we can't forget about that baby, that poor little 9-month-old caught in the middle of all this.
It breaks my heart to even think about it.
It's a stark reminder that no matter how strongly you feel about language or culture, nothing justifies putting a child in danger.
Absolutely. That's a line that should never be crossed.
And even though we can't say for sure that the MNS was directly involved in this,
Right.
you can't deny that their rhetoric about Marathi could have played a role.
It's like they created this environment where this kind of thing could happen.
Exactly. It's like they gave people permission to be aggressive about language, even if they didn't explicitly tell anyone to do anything.
That's a really good point.
So where do things stand now? Well, the women are recovering from the attack. The video is out there, and the police are investigating.
I hope they find those guys.
Me too. We've heard some names mentioned. Anil Pawar, Babasaheb Dubal, and Nitish Dubal.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see what the investigation uncovers.
Hopefully justice will be served.
So for everyone listening, this whole thing really makes you think,
Yeah.
what's the right way to balance pride in your culture with just being a decent person?
It's a question we all need to ask ourselves.
Can language, which is supposed to bring us together, actually tear us apart?
It's a sad thought, but in this case, it seems like it did.
Yeah, so maybe this whole mess in Dombivli can be a wake-up call for all of us.
A wake-up call for what?
To think about how we treat each other, how we handle our differences, whether it's about language or anything else.
Yeah, we need to remember that basic human decency should always come first.
Exactly. It's about seeing the bigger picture, looking beyond our own little bubbles and recognizing that we're all in this together.
That's a good message to end on.
It is. So that's our deep dive for today. I hope it's given everyone something to think about.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
It's been a really interesting discussion.
It has. And for everyone listening, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.